This is Chris Heasley with The Chris Heasley Show. And on tonight's show, we have a man who's serving a critical mission to the safety, to the security of our country, of the United States. And on tonight's show, we have Solomon Yu. Solomon Yu is known as the CCP Hunter. He's author of the book Counterscript, and he has been at one time placed on the CCP's kill list. Solomon, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful, and thank you for inviting me again.
And we're very glad to have you on the show. Every time you're on the show, it is content rich. We learn so much about threats to our nation. Solomon, you were at one time on the CCP's kill list. What does that mean?
That's correct. It means my parents was told if they couldn't keep my mouth shut, government would make me disappear in the night, and they will pay for the bullet. For real, because I couldn't keep my mouth shut, I would challenge Chinese Communist Party, and at the same time, they sent me to countryside to be re-educated by the farmers. As punishment, they forced me to spray fresh cow dung with my bare hands in rice field. But I escaped. So things getting worse and worse because I just couldn't back off. And so my dad got really concerned, reached out to my late grandfather, Jiang Yu, in Hong Kong, and said, one day your grandson would disappear and government would make him disappear, and we pay for the bullet. You better get him out of China and to save him. That's how I got out of China as a private international student. My late grandfather, Jiang Yu, was my sponsor, and his friend, Dr. Glenn Orts, gave me a scholarship. Also, he was a U.S. ambassador to United Nations. And so he wrote to U.S. Consul General's office and got me a student visa. So I came to this country legally and become a U.S. citizen.
Solomon, you've been placed on this planet for the purposes of exposure, for the purposes of doing a service to the people of the world. It's my opinion. How do you describe your driving motivation, your driving interest, where you were, in a way, a good problem for your parents in that you had this driving interest, but they had to get you out of there for your own safety? What makes you want to do this?
Well, first of all, when they sent me to countryside to be re-educated by farmers, I made a deal with God. Get me out of here. I will help you bring down CCP. All the glory goes to you. And so I told my grandfather that story after I landed in Hong Kong. And I said, I'm so glad God helped you to understand my situation and got me out of China. And my mission is bring down CCP, as simple as that. And that's my contract with God, if you will. And I have to honor my side. Now I'm out. And Grandpa actually was shocked, because he wanted to save me, and from that perspective, but didn't realize I actually had another compact with God. And of course, when you came to this country, you realize we are losing this republic. From the perspective, Democrats taking this country towards communism at 75 miles per hour. And Republicans are doing the same thing, slowly but surely at 35 miles per hour. So that's how I see the threat this country is become the shithole I escaped, pardon my French. And so from that perspective, I thought I got to get involved in politics and to reverse that, to change this, and also to keep this republic. Founders gave us a republic if we can keep it. And then got involved in politics pretty soon, you realize our politician sold out to China. Very good example. First time I organized RNC members dinner with Taiwanese ambassador to US at their Twin Oak estate. White House told me that's Trump, that's Bush 43 White House. Bush did not want me to take RNC chairman to the dinner because that would offend CCP. But they told me I could take co-chairman to Twin Oak. Basically, it's a Taiwanese embassy ground and for Chinese New Year dinner. And for 8 years, every year I organized that. Chairman of RNC couldn't go because you ask why? Because Bush 43's brother was doing lots of business in China. Then that goes on pretty soon during Trump year, and I realized RNC actually had been infiltrated by a gentleman named Cliff Lee. And we have DC think tank people observe him going to United Front office in Washington, D.C., not once, twice. And when got confronted by another RNC member, and he said, I have to do business with them. I have to please them because my family is still in China. And that member told him, that is hogwash. You have nobody in China anymore. And why did you do that? And then we found him, had his picture taken with Trump's sister at Mar-a-Lago, also infiltrated Trump fundraiser with RNC at Mar-a-Lago. And so we had to shut both his organization down. His organization is called National Committee of Chinese American Republican. And so basically, he's there organizing Chinese Americans here, okay? So we shut both down. Wind up, he endorsed Biden for 2020 election. So when you see this kind of stuff going on, you know RNC self, Trump campaign is a target.
That's very interesting. As I understand it, you also see these same insights in our Texas Democrats locally here in Houston. You see an infiltration by the CCP where some of these Texas Democrats may be operating in alignment with the CCP. Is that correct?
Absolutely. The gentleman's name is Jing Wu. I am very concerned about this man. Here is the reason. If you remember, Bush 45 shut down Chinese Houston Consul General's office for spying. So Chinese
Bush did?
I'm sorry, Trump 45. Not
right, Trump shut it down.
Yeah, Trump shut down. And so that makes Chinese Consul General is a spy master for the CCP. And I observed a couple things. The spy master invited Jing Wu to be seated at his head table for national holiday October 1 celebration. You don't honor people like that unless you cultivate some kind of relationship. On top of that, Jingwu was invited by CCP spy master to Beijing to attend CCP national parade. Now,
okay, now you sent a picture of that, correct?
That's correct. I sent a picture of that.
Okay, we'll display that on the screen here. Go ahead, explain that. I can see this picture, but go ahead, explain that.
In the picture, Jingwu and his wife with spy master and his wife, and then published by CCP media and in Beijing. And the caption says, Jingwu was invited by CCP Consul General to Beijing to attend military parade. Guess that put him in the rank of Putin and Kim. Those are dictators. And Xi Jinping invited them to attend his military parade. So that's very much concerned. Then you take a look what he has done for CCP to get this kind of honor. Remember, you guys in Texas tried to pass a bill forbidding Chinese nationals to buy Texas land next to U.S.
And I think you sent
military.
a picture of an NTD article, correct?
That's correct. And
okay, and I have that picture displayed right now. Go ahead.
Okay, regarding that, let's talk about that picture as well. Jingwu talked about, based on this article, talked about minorities are going to take over America. Now, when I'm looking at this, from my understanding, birth tourism, which Trump tried to stop, and you have millions come to this country, especially from China, and to give birth, turn their baby into American citizen by giving birth here. Then after birth, they take those kids back to China to be brainwashed. 10 years from now, we could have millions and millions Chinese nationals. By the time they become 18 years old, they could be U.S. citizen. That's how they're going to take over this country. And so that's why we must shut down birthright citizenship, because this kind of shenanigans going on. And based on that, I realized here he is carrying water for them to subvert this constitutional republic. Then go back to the land issue. You guys introduced a bill. I think you even wrote an article about this. And the bill said...
Correct. Hold 1 second there.
Sure.
We're talking about State Senate Bill 147 by Louis Kohlhurst, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, now I want to talk just a little bit about that. And what I want to do, I want to read a quote from President Trump, which summed up this effort by China to buy up land in America, but especially in Texas. And this is President Donald Trump. Quote, China is buying up our country, while corrupt Democrats and rhino-type politicians in Washington have been spending trillions of dollars on the Green New Deal nonsense, foolish foreign wars, and providing lavish benefits to illegal aliens from all over the planet. China has been spending trillions of dollars to take over the crown jewels of the United States economy, and they are doing that. China is buying up our technology. They are buying up food supplies. They are buying up our farmland. They are buying up our minerals and natural resources. They are buying up our ports, and shipping terminals. Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States. And when he did that, when President Trump made that fact known, Senator Louis Kohlhurst introduced a bill to prevent certain adversarial countries from being able to buy up land in Texas. You take it from here, Gene.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Solomon.
Jingwu, based on what this bill actually offer prevent all adversary countries to buy bill. It's not only targeting Chinese nationals, but he made this bill sounds like only targeting Chinese nationals. First thing I realized was Chinese government and Ministry of Foreign Affairs already opposing that bill. Okay, they are openly talk about how discriminatory against Chinese citizens and Chinese nationals this bill is. Then Jing Wu came out, called this bill is racist against the Chinese people. And the problem is there is a legitimate concern. How many Chinese nationals got arrested inside our military base, taking pictures, taking film, and also they steal our secrets, military secrets, and so forbid them to buy our land next to military base is a legitimate thing to do. So he was carry water for CCP again. That's why he is in my book, he is a suspect for me.
I'd like to list some other initiatives that were happening from other states to stop the purchase of American land. Florida banned the Chinese from purchasing land near military bases. In 2021, Texans stood up to the Chinese who, through an investment firm, attempted to purchase land for a wind farm in Valverde County. And the Lone Star Infrastructure Protection Act prevented foreigners from certain quote-unquote hostile nations from accessing the Texas energy grid. So this is an issue that leaders across the United States have attempted to address in one way or another.
That's correct. Also, I know a case from North Dakota, and Chinese national who also is their Providence Parliament member and chairman of a corn manufacturing concern, and bought out many acres right next to Air Force Base and tried to open a corn processing plant there. And my friend, who is a national committee woman and from North Dakota, and shut this thing down. And so all those concerns have been legitimate concern. And instead of address our concern, first thing you see is that they played race card against our legitimate concern.
We had the Texas Railroad Commission on, and they talked about how through investment firms, our energy policy is being dictated. So what happens is that it's not necessarily the citizens of Texas that decide what type of energy we attain in Texas. It is investment firms that are in one way or another financing these energy projects in the state of Texas. And this is why we're going from traditional reliable fuel sources to these
so-called renewable
fuel sources that we can't rely on, like oil and wind and solar. And to me, while they're doing that, while in China they're building nuclear power plants, we're going to wind and solar while China builds nuclear power plants. Do you see this as an initiative by the CCP to infiltrate us in that way?
Totally. Based on today's technology development, and we are going to use more energy ever than before, right? And based on that analogy, and they want us to go to renewable sources. And meanwhile, they are using nuclear, building nuclear plants. So the idea is one day we will not be able to produce enough energy to supply ourselves. And Europe is facing that problem because they bought into that garbage. But Trump come to the scene, said, green energy is a scam. It really is. And so now we become not only an oil producer, we're an oil exporter, an energy exporter. So that changed the dynamics for America and for America's security.
So I've heard this quote before, and this, as I understand it, is the mission statement of the CCP to some extent. And the quote is this, and the quote is a quote that is intended for the Chinese operatives in our country to obey. And the quote is, quote, loyalty to the country, loyalty to the party, which is the CCP, and criticize capitalism at every instance, unquote. Do you know about this initiative by the CCP and how they're carrying it out here in America?
Yes, I know. And not only I know, that's why when Chinese students come to America, they form a university CCP, Communist Party committee to enforce this kind of stuff. The same thing I went through during Mao's Cultural Revolution. And I was forced to criticize my own grandfather, Jiang Yu, who happened to be a capitalist, who owned a tailor shop, hired 12 tailors. And they want me to say why capitalism is bad because of exploitation. It's in the book. So I turned the table around without knowing anything about capitalism, right? Just common sense. I said something like this. I said, my grandfather happened to provide a service to his customers and also serve their needs. They want suits, and he's making suits for them. And in return, because those people are satisfied, and they come back for more suits. With this kind of arrangement, that then I don't know, that was invisible hand, right? And with this kind of arrangement, and my grandfather was feeding 12 families and paying them. So really is a win-win situation for everyone. Why serving his fellow man is a bad thing? Now, that got me into really trouble, okay? For next 3 days, I have to write self-criticism. So it's in the book, and then next time something else happened, I challenged the notion again, other stuff, like capitalism always overproduce, and milk is a good example they used. In order to keep the price superficially high and let poor, hungry capitalists rather dump milk in the ocean. Guess what I did? I challenged that notion and raised my hand during discussion. I said, on my way to school, I saw a milk line 4 blocks long. If socialism is so superior, don't you think we should produce more milk than those capitalists? Now that one got me sent to countryside to be re-educated by the farmers. So I've been through this. What I see is right now, Democrats, those Democrat socialists and communists is starting a culture revolution, woke cultural revolution in America. They're doing exactly the same thing to us.
Well, okay, so what I see is President Trump. Okay, at one point in time, a century plus ago, China was a completely self-sustaining nation. They needed no foreign inputs from any nation. They produced everything that they needed on their own. And they today are, I'm not sure, but it seems to me like if they're not already doing that again, they want to. They're moving in that direction. And they're doing that through the use of tariffs, as I understand it. Whereas here in America, while President Trump is attempting to attain that same type of situation where we're self-producing and we protect our industries with tariffs, it seems like there's a huge effort to stop that from happening. What are your thoughts?
My
there?
thoughts, Trump really saved America because we were going down the hill and faster than we realized. And especially during COVID, you can see we couldn't even produce masks, so basic medical supplies. And we rely on China as a factory. The dependency is killing us. So tariff was first step to correct that problem. And that means during his first term, 45 rebuilt, Trump 45 rebuilt our industrial base and fighting a trade war. And now, actually, we are in second phase. Second phase is bringing investments. And so with investments, you can rebuild America and also bring back energy industry. That's happening too. And now we can deal with the threat from Iran. And in my estimate, China is in trouble. And China economy is in a free fall. And they can't even pay cops in Beijing. If big city can't pay cops, they really got a problem. So I totally support Trump policy on trade as well as against Iran.
And the other tactic that, I know I'm going off subject here. You're the CCP hunter here in America, but I'm going on economics. But another thing that really has wiped out our country is the fact that the Chinese manipulate their currency to take out American industry. Are they still doing that practice? Are they pegging the yen to the dollar in an effort to keep their currency undervalued so they can always outbid on manufacturing of goods across the planet?
Yes, but not with us anymore. What Trump did right, and Trump's all the departments, including War Department, and put all those Chinese company on entity list. That means they cannot sell goods, services to America anymore, and they can't outbid us. And however, but China is overproducing their products. What they do is they do dumping, sell them cheaper than the cost in Europe, in Africa, and that's really hurting European industries. And take a look, Volkswagen, and they're ready to, go bankrupt and close down manufacturing plants. So that is really concern in Europe. Right now, Europe is in big trouble.
Solomon, we've come to the end here. Is there anything you want to say to close us out? I really appreciate how you are exposing these efforts. And I think through this conversation, things are going to get rectified. But please finish up here, please. You get the last word.
I want everybody go on Amazon and buy this book. The book with a foreword written by Trump campaign manager, deputy campaign manager, David Bossie. And my friend, Gordon Chang, also gave me a wonderful review of the book. And from Amazon, and you want to know what made me to be a CCP hunter and to bring down CCP. And thank you, Chris, for the interview.
And thank you for being on the show, Solomon. I always enjoy having you on, and I certainly appreciate what you're doing for our country. So thank you very much. And this is Chris Heasley with the Chris Heasley Radio Show. Please come back next week. We have another hot topic. Have a great week.